Sanity is good here, and welcome back to Umineko no Naku Koro ni. I am joined by my good friend Kit, who's going to help me do the voices so that my throat does not die.
I am a person of many talents, and I will be glad to help my friend out tonight.
Okay, let me see if... Alright, we should be live. Keyword should. There we go. Alright. Get the chat up. There we go. There's my dashboard. There it is. Okay. I don't know why there's such a delay on the stupid dashboard thing on the app. Alright. So let's go ahead and get started.
Those bells don't sound ominous at all.
That's the clock. Okay.
Bell tolls for whom now?
Oh, and by the way, guys, Hi, Rox! Hello! So, speaking of Rox, she showed me today the thumbnail for Umineko, and oh my god, I love it. I love it so much. Ah! I was spazzing out in my kitchen when I saw it. Okay. We crossed the hall again on our way to the entrance. As we did, we once again spotted that witch's portrait. However, spotted is probably not the best word to describe that experience. It was more like our eyes were inexorably drawn to it. That woman's eyes, with their sage-like glamour, definitely had the power to make those who viewed it stand rooted to the spot. So this is the witch Beatrice. Wonder if that story is true. Back when he had asked what this picture was, the first person to tell him had been Maria. Therefore, when Battler showed signs of doubt, Maria must have felt that Battler didn't have faith in her. Of course, that wasn't what Battler meant. Maria ran up to the portrait and began banging on a plate hanging below it. Maybe the title of the portrait was written there. Maria, trying to prove that she wasn't lying, obstinately continued to hit the plate. Ah, sorry about that. It's not like I doubt anything you said, Maria.
Battler believes.
When he patted Maria's head and apologized, oh my god, your Maria is so cute. She seemed to accept it, sticking on her chest and proudly ooh-ooing.
Why can I see this? I can see this so well, and it's so adorable.
Oh wait, hold on. Did OBS crap out of me? Nope, it's still good. Okay. We're still good! Alright. What's this? My beloved witch Beatrice. Behold the sweet fish river. What's with this weird, huge epitaph? The plate did have the title of the portrait written on it, but it was much too big to contain only that. Beneath the title was what appeared to be a long epitaph. If you just skimmed over it, several unnerving words would jump out at you. Incredible, isn't it? Grandfather had that made. Pretty deep, huh?
I know. It's the place where the gold's hidden.
Wait, isn't that story about those Shiromiya families hidden gold? Now there's another thing I remember from long ago. Hold on, Iniki, is this for real?
Grandfather had this made, but he never said anything about this picture. So, amongst the family, it is often whispered that it indicates the location of grandfather's hidden gold, and that he will relinquish the inheritance and the gold to the person who solves the riddle.
I heard that too. I heard that too. Lots and lots of gold.
Well, something like that. Something like 10 metric tons of gold bars. I think it's fake, though. Still, when you read about it in an epitaph like this, it almost seems real. That's so much fucking money, like...
Like, what would you do with that many bars of gold?
Buy an island? Like...
how would that run in the market? You would crash it so hard. It's just like you'd overflow it with money.
Yeah.
And everybody would just be like, take all of the money. Just take all of the money. Get out of here before you make things worse.
I think I already explained Grandfather's upbringing, but let me also mention the Ushiramiya family's Legend of the Gold. Grandfather succeeded the Ushiramiya family after it was destroyed in the Great Kanto earthquake, and by successfully riding the stormy seas after the war, he managed to accumulate great wealth. That much of the story everyone knows. However, this is where the strange part begins. Part of it involves Grandfather's black magic obsession, so its credibility is extremely low, but... well, wait until the end before you doubt or make fun of it.
Too late.
After the war, Grandfather correctly predicted what the future would hold and won at a huge gamble, accumulating a vast store of wealth. But there's a mysterious legend about how he gained his initial funding. Grandfather came from a branch family and had no connections in the business world or the financial world. Even though he later built connections with the occupying forces, he supposedly started as a nameless person who hadn't yet gained anyone's trust. It takes trust to gather money. There's no way anyone would lend money to someone they didn't trust. How did Grandfather, who had no reputation at all, manage to obtain his first vast chunk of funds? When asked that question, Grandfather supposedly answered like this.
Certain. I encountered the golden witch Beatrice.
Grandfather then went on and on about his continuing research into alchemy and techniques for summoning demons in order to become a great magician. And then the entity summoned as the result of the demon calling ceremony was a golden witch Beatrice. He then apparently made a contract by which he would receive fortune and honor in exchange for his own soul. Well, let me just double check. We're still good. The witch then granted Grandfather 10 tons of gold. Grandfather used this gold as collateral to prepare a vast quantity of funds, which he then used to multiply his wealth many times over and revive the Ushiramiya family. It seems the story's so old that even our parents were told it when they were still children. I wonder why Chad's not...
I'm gonna break the worldview for a minute. So Beatrice turned Kinzo. Basically, Kinzo was Beatrice's sugar baby.
You could interpret it that way.
Because I mean, like, you go out in the middle of the woods to summon a demon, and in return, she gives you money.
Yeah. Or is it just a myth? Who knows?
He could have been crazy. He could have just found gold in the middle of the woods and just been like, I've been gifted by a demon witch, thank you!
So back when our parents were young, they explored this island in all sorts of ways. Oh, here we go. See, this is the point you were just making. Believing that the gold Grandfather had received from the witch might be hidden somewhere. However, since there was the danger of them getting lost in the abandoned forest, Grandmother began to spread the story that the witch lived in the forest and approaching it was forbidden. I remember that old story. When we were little, we also went all over the island searching for treasure after our parents told us about it. Didn't we get lost in the forest once and start crying until some of the servants found us? Our parents got so mad. Dang, that takes me back. We sure were idiots, weren't we? After all, Grandfather only bought this island after using those funds to get rich, right? That means he must have had the gold before coming here. There's no way the gold's on this island.
I mean, that's not necessarily so. Maybe the gold was hidden in the island at the beginning, and he bought the whole island just to ensure that it'd be his. There was a whole 10 metric tons, right? It seems more realistic that he would try to secure the place where it was hidden rather than try to move it at all. This epitaph was made 2 years ago. And since grandfather wrote it himself, yeah, it does make much more sense. So-called witches that 5 Shia's family weighed 10 tons. Maybe that's his weakness. Maybe that's all. That's why he did it. Guess that sounds like grandfather's style or something.
Oh wait, was this Battler? I think this was Battler.
Oops, too late.
Oh my god. Ryukishi, why? Okay. If it's true, that's pretty incredible. When they don't show the sprites, it's so hard to tell. Okay.
Darn this entire game.
Dude, no, when I watched Chrono and his friend, I can't remember his handle, when they read it, they kept like a tally of how many times they messed up who was talking, and like by the time they got to the end of it, it was like over 100. It was hilarious. It was really funny. The epitaph carved into the plate was very mysterious, with something like a poem or a song written on it. The text was incredibly disturbing, filled with the signs of grandfather's black magic hobby, and its contents were in truly bad taste. But it could definitely be viewed as a puzzle which, if solved, might lead to the hidden gold.
Never think black magic is a hobby. If someone does black magic, that's not a hobby.
It's a way of life.
Unfortunately. Whether that's what he intended or not, I can't even imagine it was true. All we know for sure, grandfather put a shady epitaph here so that everyone in the family can see it. We also know that he's hinted at the existence of the gold without ever talking about where it might be hidden. So, these facts then were embellished by the imaginations of the grandfather's child just came back to wits. Guys, he was just crazy!
Sounds just like my dad, so greedy that he takes something like this so seriously. He may laugh at grandfather's black magic obsession, but he'd still believe the story about the hidden gold. It just sounds so good.
Well, it's certainly not a realistic story. At that time, grandfather was still nameless and had no connections. There's no way anyone would just lend him a massive gold bars. If such a person actually did exist, it's not unthinkable that grandfather calls it a responsible witch. She's a witch! I tell ya! Burn her! Burn her!
Yeah, but it's 10 tons. 10 tons! If you cash that in, how much would it come to? I mean, it'd have to be a ridiculous amount, right?
Certainly, it wouldn't be ridiculous amount. They say the total amount of gold mined by humankind on history is 150,000 metric tons at the most. That's 1/10,000 of all of the gold humankind has obtained on history. It should belong to just one person. It's just insane. On top of that, this witch supposedly had all that gold collected in one place. Was able to lend it to grandfather just like that. We're not talking about any one person.
Well, to me, that 10 tons number seems pretty fishy. After all, no one's actually seen it except grandfather, right? Even if we assume that some generous witch existed and lent him some gold, maybe it was closer to 10 kilograms than 10 tons. Even 10 kilograms would be a pretty credible sum, right?
Ooh. 10 kilograms of gold is so much?
Maria, who wasn't following the story and felt like she was being spoken to in riddles, finally found a place where she could ask us a question. It was
her heart.
I know, right? Poor kid. It was a question I also wanted answered right then. Whether it was 10 kilograms or 10 tons, it still felt like a huge amount, but I had no idea exactly how huge. Giordaniki folded his arms and tried to remember the market price of gold. Who just knows the market price of gold off the top of their head? Like...
Well, I mean, we all know he's wicked smart. Like, he was raised to be, like, the heir, but he didn't, right?
Yeah.
So he's supposed to be, like, this really smart guy, like, this really well-rounded guy, this well-knowledgeable man, right?
Yeah, so he probably would.
Yeah, he's just flaunting his intelligence at this point. Well... even the value of the gold is affected by the market. The value of this gold can change depending on its purity, trustworthiness, and value. You'd also pay handling fees to cash it. However, that doesn't change the fact that it's a precious metal. Something must have been mined half a century ago.
Alright, once upon a time when I was a... Rox says, once upon a time when I was a jewelry consultant, I did. Yeah, you'd have to if you work with jewelry. You definitely would. That'll kind of be a fun job, though, to handle all the sparkly stuff.
And all the pretties and shinies.
Yeah.
Just guessing haphazard. I think you could expect the price of about 2 million yen per kilogram.
Whoa! Just now, I randomly said 10 kilograms since it sounded smaller. But even that would be worth 20 million yen, wouldn't it?
I weigh 28 kilograms.
But if we had Korea chance, we could estimate its worth at 50 million yen.
That's just unbelievable. How much would 10 tons be then? 10 kilograms is 20 million yen, which you multiply by 1,000, so, huh?
Don't hurt your brain over this.
Alright, 20 billion yen? What the hell? How much is 20 billion yen actually worth? We can only measure it relative to our own pocketbooks. Anyway, let's say that a person's wages over a lifetime are about 200 million yen. You grow up and work like crazy, sacrificing your life for your company, and you're finally freed as you approach old age. Everything including retirement money might add up to about 200 million yen. In other words, that's the amount of money that'll be made throughout a human's life. No, you could even call it the value of a life. Ugh, gross.
Actually, if you work hard enough and understand the stock market, you could actually make a bit more than that in less than 3 months.
Probably, yeah. So 100 times that sum is an unbelievable amount of money. If you work from age 20 to age 60, that's 40 years of work, so it's equal to 4,000 years of work wages. If you worked every day starting from the Jomon period, I don't know what years those are, it isn't saying, you'd only reach that number about now.
Is 20 billion yen a lot?
Heck yeah, it's a lot! Maria, you love shortcake, right? You could buy more shortcake than you could possibly eat for the rest of your life.
Dude, you brought cake into this. That's unfair. Okay, so the Jomon period was between 14,000 and 300 BCE.
Oh, wow.
Sweet lords. However, while that might be possible with cash, I don't think it would be very realistic to have that much of the bars in place. Just as I said, gold is extremely heavy, so it isn't exactly convenient as a personal wealth. Sure, you could imagine someone gathering a fortune together as incredibly high value stocks or precious gems. You often hear of people who traded their wealth for precious gems so that they could carry it around and got it. But you don't usually hear stories of people exchanging wealth for gold. It'd be like changing a diamond to a single gold bar. You'd just be going down.
Yeah. It may be heavy, but it's the most trusted and stable form of wealth internationally, so maybe that was important? For example, bonds are just scraps of paper if the whole country goes under.
But even one 10-kilogram Indian is pretty heavy. Haven't heard? 50-kilogram person can carry a 50-kilogram bag. That many gold bars is not a believable risk for a person. Just imagine a thief just running by and trying to grab that bag, thinking, oh my god, there must be so many goodies in there, I'm gonna be able to, oh my god!
So what you're saying is, well, it'd be one thing if you had a stack of banknotes worth 20 million yen. 20 billion yen in gold would be such a big mountain that practically it'd be kind of pointless.
Right. Although the legend of gold does have a pretty interesting ring to it. Just the part about the 10 tons of gold makes it pretty much impossible.
If you think about it logically like that, it sounds obviously fake. Kind of brings you back down to reality.
Anyway, that's grandpa. Maybe he exaggerated the story of some kind of wealthy person gave him a loan by saying he's got 10 tons of gold, which even the number 10 tons is symbolic.
You mean like his gratitude for the money he borrowed was worth 10 tons of gold or something? Maybe some rich man's leisured wife generously granted it to grandfather, and maybe he started calling this person a witch. I see. Jessica's example isn't bad. Someone who generously lent a huge sum of money to grandfather when he still had no reputation might as well be called a witch.
Hey!
Furthermore, grandfather actually did use that money to build a vast amount of wealth later on. The fact that this person was so great at judging people might also justify calling her a witch. Also, since she went to the trouble of lending all that money, she might have enthusiastically overseen how it was spent. The decision to unexpectedly get involved with the occupying forces and profit from the Korean War demands might have been inspired by the witch herself. That might explain why he claimed to have received both wealth and honor from her. I see. So, in other words, this witch lent grandfather the funds necessary to revive the Ushiromia family, and he owed her big time. And then he felt so grateful that he had that huge painting drawn and displayed. Yeah, it's not that crazy a story. It's even possible this person was an old granny who looked like a witch. Maybe grandfather idolized her, and that's why he had her drawn to look so beautiful. I'll bet if we ever did meet this person, she wouldn't be nearly this pretty.
That's possible. The name Beatrice sounds pretty Western if you think about how everyone in our family has Western names. Maybe even the name Beatrice is the result of grandfather trying to rearrange some Japanese person's name to make it sound Western.
I get it. That means this pretty girl doesn't exist outside the picture. Guess that means I won't be able to rub those elegant breasts.
Excuse me, I have to ring the gong of disbelief.
Right. In the first place, isn't having a witch pretty bizarre by itself? Like you could find something like that anywhere on Earth. I laughed and made fun of the witch, trying to distinguish myself from the kid I was 6 years ago, who feared the witch of the forest, when Maria tugged on my sleeve. I could tell by how hard she pulled that she was a bit upset. What is it, Maria?
Ew. Beatrice exists!
Maria stared up at me. She had on her usual sour look, but I could tell she was angry by the color of her eyes.
I'm sorry, what?
I don't know. Her eyes are the same color.
What? I mean, I guess that, like, some people do say that when a person gets angry, their eyes gain a bit of light in them, turning them a different color. I mean, it's I've been told that before. Like, my eyes are brown, but when somebody makes me angry, apparently my eyes get like a red glint or something.
Demon eyes. Maria has demon eyes.
I mean, sure.
Witches exist! Witches exist! Oh!
Oh my god, this child, yes, they do, sweetheart, they do. Maybe not in this game, maybe not until later in this game, but they do exist.
Well, sure they do exist. If you turn the TV on and watch anime or something.
Falsehood!
Exist! Witches exist!
Hold on. I kinda wanna see her angry face. Oh, she's so cute. Ah.
She's adorable. Oh, goodness.
I started getting impatient, not knowing why Maria was jumping on me like this. Then Jessica tapped me on the shoulder and whispered, "Dumbass, you're smashing a kid's dream. Maria really believes things like witches and Beatrice exist."
Come to think of it, Maria should be social skills. We were asked to fight. We wanted to give up. We were rich, didn't we?
Maria nodded seriously. Tears started to run from the corners of her eyes. "Valor, you made her cry!" I see. To a girl who wants to become a witch in the future, the existence of Beatrice was proof that witches do exist in this world, and was therefore an image that she yearned after and admired.
Exist! Witches exist! But Papa still doesn't believe me.
It's okay. Witches do exist. I believe it.
George and Nikki kneeled down and hugged Maria's head. "Aw, George, you're so good."
George getting the points right there.
Watching this, Jessica poked my side. "So that's what it is. It's like shouting that Santa Claus doesn't exist in front of a child who believes in him on Christmas Eve. Yeah, it's a total asshole move, dude. I'm not the kind of...
Wow, why would you do that? What the heck?
Because people are terrible. I'm not the kind of guy who likes to shatter a kid's dreams.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to make fun of your dreams, so I apologize. Beatrice does exist. Even now she's living in the forest and comes to the mansion every night to peek in and see what everyone's doing. So you shouldn't go into the forest. At night, you mustn't stare into the dark forest. You might be seen by the witch of the forest, Beatrice. After all, grandmother said so. Yep, I believe. Sorry for doubting it. Come on, let's make up. I stuck out my hand, Maria grabbed it with her tiny hand, and we made up.
Excuse me.
It's so cute. Maria...
It burns the dark spot in my soul.
Maria didn't grumble any more than that, so George, Nikki, and Jessica were relieved. Oh, so this is where all of you were. I was sure you had just left to go to the beach. Shannon-chan, carrying a basket, was surprised to find us all gathered in front of the portrait. Shannon! Well, this is the first time Battler has seen Beatrice's portrait. He was just fascinated by it. That's right, it certainly is fascinating. Beatrice-sama is truly beautiful. I'm sure that she captivated the master.
In addition to the theory, it is also either way, all those seven methods better, and now she has a special place in his heart. Which must mean that he's still captivated by her.
Sheesh. That must have made grandmother pretty jealous, huh? I'm not really sure, but that might actually be true. Apparently grandmother believed he was cheating on her with some blonde.
Oh Lord, why do I feel like this is going to be a bad thing?
Good smell. Good smell coming from Shannon.
Maria, snipping, approached the basket Shannon-chan was holding with interest. After hearing that, I noticed a fragrant scent with a touch of vanilla. I apologize. I was told by Kumasawa-san to bring them to everyone.
What is it? Oh, excellent. Cookies.
Want to eat cookies? We eat cookies. Ew.
Please, eat as much as you would like. But, would it be appropriate to serve cookies at a place like this, in front of the portrait? Shannon-chan sent us a glance that seemed to ask what we wanted to do about it.
Why does that matter?
Well, yeah, I guess eating here would be bad manners, generally speaking. Maria, why don't we eat someplace else? Let's put the cookies in a bento and have a picnic.
Ew. Have a picnic. Have a picnic. If we can eat cookies, let's go.
Yeah, let's go get some fresh air. We shouldn't stuff ourselves right in front of the witch. That's right, didn't we say that we wanted to go down to the beach in the first place? Let's go, let's go!
Shannon-chan. Sorry, but could I ask you to get us something I can sit on whilst
Right, certainly. Shannon-chan received her instructions and gracefully bowed before retracing her steps. We headed for the beach on our own. Everyone headed for the entrance in a group. Feeling as though that witch was staring down at our backs, I turned around once more. Nope, I believe. It'd be so much cooler that way. The Golden Witch Beatrice gave Grandfather 10 tons of gold. And that gold might be sleeping around here somewhere. Besides, didn't Grandfather write that strange epitaph as though challenging us to find it if we can? I'd say that kind of adventurous story is way better. 20 billion yen worth of gold, huh? Even if we split it up between the four of us, that's still a ridiculous amount of money.
5 billion yen for each of us. Incredible. That kind of money could probably make any sort of business prosper. And we could live our whole lives fabulously without working at all.
I don't want 5 million yet. I want cookies. Cookies.
God bless her heart.
Maria would take cookies over money. Still, 5 billion yen, that's like a dream. Okay, I'm not sure who's talking here.
I might as well just take a stab at it. Ridiculous. Is it possible that you all truly Father's legend of gold?
This might be Kraus.
Who was that you or was that me?
That was me. Okay, I'm gonna assume this is Kraus. Ridiculous. Is it possible that you all truly believe in Father's legend of the gold? Of course we don't believe that story about a witch giving him gold, but there's no mistake about the gold itself. The fact that Father obtained gold bars from an unknown source has been confirmed in several ways. We've heard that before the president of the Marusu company died, Father showed him a large pile of gold somewhere. Father used that man's claim as proof that there were 10 tons worth. That's just the nonsense of a senile old man. Along with Father, he was just fabricating a story. You can't take it seriously. Yes, I was right. If that gold didn't exist, he wouldn't have been able to gather so much funding. Before the president died, he was a person with such a sincere personality that he earned the respect of many in the business world. He wouldn't have become a partner to such fraud. Aniki, the president of Marusu definitely saw it. 10 tons of it clearly with his own eyes. Even more, Dad let the president take one ingot at random and have it examined. The results of the examination showed that the 10-kilogram ingot was 99.99% pure. He said that the Ushiramiya family crest, the one-winged eagle, was imprinted on it. Almost instantly, the Ushiramiya legend of the gold spread amongst the fixers of the business world. Gold from an unknown foundry has a poor rate of conversion into money. Thinking that it was a chance for decisive profits, they accepted it as collateral, and as a result, Father was able to receive massive loans. Is there no limit to the absurdity you're willing to accept? How old are you people? Are you still taking that nursery tale you heard as children seriously? Where is the proof that this 10 tons of gold even exists? Aren't you just parroting the lies of Father in fear of those close to him? Of course, it's just a story. But still, Aniki, the amount of money Dad raised required a suitable amount of collateral. Even if the gold itself was just a rumor, it's an undoubtable fact that he showed them a treasure of comparable worth. It was just an illusion of money created by our penniless father. He acted as though he actually had gold that didn't exist, fooling his sponsors. It was probably the gamble of a lifetime. Luckily, his use of those funds proved successful. If the Korean War demands hadn't come and the Ushiramiya family had not been restored, Father would probably have been hounded after as the crook of the century. So, are you saying the gold never existed, and Father made it all up? Of course. And because of that, the illusion of gold became a mere inconvenience once he'd achieved enough success. That's why later on Father added all that about a witch and black magic, weakening the credibility of the entire story. In other words, he revealed that the illusion of the gold was a fabrication. If he claimed to have received the gold from a witch, no one would believe that it existed at all, right? It's also possible he said it for all of your sakes. Nevertheless, here comes some stupid offspring wanting to divide up this non-existent gold, along with the rest of the inheritance. Rosa, don't tell me that even you believe in a fabrication like this.
I can't prove whether or not Father really had the gold. I just want to claim my rightful share as one of Father's 4 children.
Oh. It seems even you have started to talk that way, Rosa. I see, so that's what you're all getting at. You're trying to claim that I'm attempting to keep all the gold for myself. Nissan, you've gathered a massive supply of funds. That's a fact. If we rule out the possibility that you've been embezzling Father's personal funds, then there's only one possibility left, right? Aniki, we've been thinking that you might have found those 10 tons of gold bars. Ridiculous. Such a thing never existed in the first place. Then explain yourself. Was it embezzlement of Father's assets or Father's hidden gold? How could you have gathered so much funding if not by one of these methods? Even I have many friends in the political and financial realms. I've earned their cooperation, nothing more. And on that matter, I have no responsibility to explain myself to you. You understand, don't you? There are some topics that ought not to be spoken of. If you insist on that point, that's all well and good for now. But Aniki, Dad doesn't have long. Nobody can ensure that he'll live to see this day next year. The inheritance process will begin at the instant of Dad's death. We'll arrange for lawyers and accountants who are impartial to all of us and have them inspect Dad's financial situation. At that time, if it comes to light that you've unjustly interfered with Father's money, you understand, right? I don't have a clue what you're talking about. You're starting to make me feel as indignant as my wife was. Of course, Father's gold is part of Father's fortune. We understand it's money you can't reveal openly, but the 4 siblings should have an equal right to it. In other words, we're gonna have your financial situation investigated as well as Dad's to determine whether you're hoarding the gold or not. Isn't this a great opportunity? Right now, prove the existence of your so-called support for friends and acquaintances. That way we can sportingly apologize for foolishly doubting you. Right, Rosa?
That's right. Krasny-san, you are the one who's dodging the issue. If you were guiltless, you could just prove that you were in the right. But you aren't trying to do so.
However, Aniki, we still have to consider your position here. As Dad's representative, you're probably bearing a larger share of the burden than we are. We've been living terribly relaxed lives until now, so it wouldn't be fair for the rest of us to complain without taking your efforts into account. Oh, It seems you cannot make up your mind whether to flatter me or slander me. Please get to the point. Basically, randomly investigating nitpicky aspects of Father's wealth seems like a pretty crude way to go about it. As you said, Kraus-Nissan, there may have been movements of money that are difficult to explain. We've come to consult with you today while fully aware of that point. Both sides stand to gain from talking about this now. A consultation? Oh. When the inheritance is divided, you'll be rewarded for your years of hard work taking care of Dad by an agreement that's generous in your favor. Don't misunderstand us, Nissan. We aren't saying that we'll abandon our rights. But when we make our claim for what we deserve, we might as well offer a generous understanding for your position. That's what we mean. In other words, if you accept our conditions, then when the inheritance is divided, we'll leave the investigation of Father's financial situation to you, Kraus-Nissan.
Wow, this family's so messed up that they're blackmailing each other.
Yeah. This is around the time, things start getting a little heavy. All of the siblings from Ava downward suspected that Kraus was trying to steal their father's wealth. So, letting Kraus report the state of that wealth was extremely contradictory and a huge concession. If, as they claimed, Kraus was actually embezzling money, Kraus would be able to hide that fact. Besides which, it'd be possible for him to control the distribution of the inheritance in a manner favorable to himself. Kraus, realizing that this sounded too good to be true, couldn't help but feel suspicious. He couldn't help but worry about what they'd ask for in exchange. Huh. After mistrusting me completely, you now say that you're willing to restore your confidence in me as the eldest sibling. So what is it you want in return? Just what we deserve as siblings. You aren't the kind of person who'd steal Dad's property, but you also aren't being financed by some patron. Considering all that, there is a certain explanation that'd satisfy the rest of us. Nissan, you found 10 tons of gold and used that as collateral to gather some funding. Yes, just like Father did in the past, right? If that's the case, there won't be any funny business of Father's finances. You've always been a good son, looking after Father. Why do we mistrust a person like that? You're being so roundabout, I can barely understand you. Please speak in clearer and more practical terms.
Dude.
Our first condition. Aniki, you must admit that you found Dad's gold. Are you asking me to admit I possess gold that doesn't exist? Our second condition. You'll acknowledge that each sibling has a right to a share of the gold, and you will pay out those shares. How foolish. With that non-existent 20 billion yen of gold, that it would be 5 billion yen per person. Are you telling me to pay a total of 15 billion yen? Ridiculous. Keep listening till the end. We know that much money can't just pop out of nowhere. We're not asking you to make an impossible deal. Of course, regarding the portions of the gold, we plan to reward you plenty for your hard work until now. Our third condition. The portion of the gold to the one bearing the title of successor to the Ushiromiya head family will be 50%. The remainder will be considered the fair share of the siblings and divided up. Of course, this also includes you, Kraus-Nissan. Of the 20 billion, 12.5 billion will go to Aniki, 2.5 billion will go to Eva-ne-san, 2.5 billion will go to me, and 2.5 will go to Rosa. That division scheme makes me so grateful I could cry. So you're saying, for the sake of the gold that doesn't exist, I must pay you 7.5 billion yen. What's wrong? Nissan, your share is 5 times the size of ours. These are such good terms, I'd be jumping for joy.
I think that's still her.
Our fourth condition. The gold will be liquidated and distributed along with the inheritance at the time of Father's death. However, as a deposit, 10% of our portions are to be paid to us promptly. These payments must be made before March of next year.
I think that would be the thin dude.
Oh, Rudolph? What
Yeah.
do you think, Kraus-Nissan? This is an ideal chance for you to restore the trust regarding your handling of Father's assets, isn't it? Of course, it might be impossible to get a whole 7.5 billion before Father dies, but it shouldn't be possible for you to manage a deposit of 750 million, right? Paying 700 million in half a year might sound like a pain, but you should be able to manage it, what with all your friends in the political and business spheres. Normally, we'd hope to receive the 7.5 billion right now, all at once, and out of concern for you, we'll show our sincerity by asking for only 10% of that for the time being. The remaining 90% can wait until the inheritance is distributed. See? Even you'd be capable of managing a mere 10% to show your sincerity. So, you're trying to sell me the right to assess Father's financial situation for 750 million yen. How impressive. You all certainly have grown. To think that I'm now the one being offered deals. Nissan, if you accept these terms, the rest of us siblings will leave the investigation of Father's assets to you. However, the results of that investigation will be subject to scrutiny. It's only natural, right? We'd be so sad if you managed things so that our 7.5 billion share shrank. We'll avoid complaining as a general rule. Just make sure you do it neat and tidy. As long as you don't try anything that's blatantly obvious, we've got no intention of stirring things up. We want our inheritance quickly, too. We don't want it to get all drawn out and left hanging. If a complaint is made, who would carry out the follow-up investigation?
We don't. This is probably the first and last chance for us to reach a consensus. I believe
Looks like even you can speak up now and then, Rosa. By this point, it's obvious that Kraus wasn't at all trusted as the oldest sibling, so there's no need to go into detail. The formerly tyrannical oldest brother had always abused his privileges and violated the other siblings' shares. It was in response to this that the other three, now adults, were finally teaming up and striking back for the first time.
They were sharing a brain cell.
Yeah. Sorry. Hold on. Hold on.
it's alright, it's alright.
Okay. Sorry, but there's more. Our fifth condition. This decision must take precedence over Father's will. Later on, we don't want some will to appear and make this decision completely irrelevant. I see that you're very cautious. Then let me ask, if the gold really were found, what would you do? Since you'll be making payments to us for what the gold's worth, the rest of us really don't care if we ever see the gold or not. You can think of our shares an advance payment. It's good to have dreams, isn't it? You plan to turn this island into a resort, right? You might stumble upon the gold by chance during construction. Ava let out a high-pitched laugh. Kraus watched but didn't even flinch. Let me add a seventh condition before I accept. In the situation that any sibling other than myself finds the gold, they will immediately turn it over to me. Yes, of course, we'll hold on to it for you.
Why?
It was a play on words. Of course the others who were forcing Kraus to pay money for some non-existent gold wouldn't save Kraus's portion if they actually found it. From the beginning, this deal had been nothing more than a threat directed at Kraus. Oh, really?
I never would have guessed. That was so well done.
Dumb of ass is what T says. Regardless of the actual facts, it was still extremely likely that Kraus was embezzling his father's assets. When Kinzo faced death at last and had his inheritance distributed, some unpleasant facts would surely come to light. That could easily become fatal to Kraus. The others had spotted this weak point and were threatening their brother under the veil of compromise, trying to read a huge sum of money out of him. However, they had forgotten one thing. They'd forgotten that their brother's brain moved so swiftly, at least when it came to cunning and guile, that they'd been forced to band together to combat him.
Like I said, they were sharing one brain cell.
While Ava couldn't stop smiling, sure of her victory, Kraus let out a gloating laugh to show how relaxed he was. This all makes for such a touching story. My estrangement from you all has left a deep pain in my heart. If accepting these conditions means we siblings can become friends again, it would please me to no end. I'd be happy to agree to your deal. Rejoice, Rosa. We have reached an understanding. Rosa's expression dimmed. It was never a good sign when her brother started talking like this. Ava also keenly picked up on this. That's why she was unable to wipe away a sense of unease, even though Kraus had obediently accepted the deal. My, how obedient of you. It's not like you at all, Nissan. What a cruel thing to say. Are you implying I have some ulterior motive? Of course I don't. I'm just the same as all of you. Just the same as all of you. He seemed to emphasize just that one part. The color of Rudolph's face darkened. To him, it sounded as though Kraus was saying, I have a plan similar to yours. So Rudolph panicked. He rushed to bring this daily resolved discussion to a conclusion. Then we're good. So, Aniki, would you mind signing here? This is a written contract summarizing the discussion we've just been having. There's one for each of us. Everyone will sign for the same contents. Rudolph took 4 written contracts out of his breast pocket that had the details of their deal written on them. The 7th condition you proposed will, of course, be added right now. Don't worry about that. Aniki, need a pen? Rudolph took a fountain pen out of his breast pocket and offered it to Kraus. Kraus made as if to accept it, but then with a small laugh, he drew back his hand without taking it and spoke. Actually, in order to ensure that this agreement is properly executed, I'd like to propose an amendment to on just one point. As soon as Kraus said that single sentence, all of the siblings felt as though something ominous was creeping up their backs at the same time. That won't do. We've already decided, haven't we? Just stay quiet and sign it. Why are you in such a hurry, Ava? Of course I'll sign. I promise the share of the gold going to all of you will be 7.5 billion yen. I also promise that when Father's inheritance is distributed, I will cleanly and neatly liquidate it. However, there is one point that I simply must insist that you compromise on. What are you talking about? What don't you like? The part about promptly paying 10% of your share, 750 million yen. As you pointed out, my financial situation is far from prosperous. While I can guarantee that I will collect on various future investments, I must admit that I am quite poor at the present moment. In short, I have absolutely no money that I can move around right now. I am incompetent, and my business sense is dull. Since I am the loser you all claim me to be, I don't have the power to move 750 million yen in just half of a year. That can't be true. Are you trying to deceive us with such a half-baked trick? At the time of the division of the inheritance, I will liquidate everything at once. Remove the condition that I must pay you 10% in advance. That is the only condition under which I am willing to sign. Kraus Nissan, that 10% is nothing more than a number to measure your sincerity, isn't it? All things being equal, you shouldn't have any room to negotiate at all. We're doing you a huge favor by offering to let things slide for just 10% good faith money. Now that we've explained that, you rejecting our offer would seriously damage our trusted relationship, right? Hideyoshi had a humble expression on his face and was rubbing his hands together, but his eyes weren't calm at all. Kraus had already seen through to the shadow in the depths of those eyes. Why are you all in such a rush? Or could it be that you're afraid of something? Rosa, won't you tell me alone? Secretly, so the rest of the siblings can't hear.
It's not as though I...
Quit it, Aniki. All we're asking is whether you're gonna sign or not. Just forget about making any strange deals or any other suspicious moves. Oh? You say I have no room to negotiate? Are you trying to claim that I am in a weak position, which therefore puts us in an unequal relationship? Shivers began to crawl up Rudolph's back. He began to feel himself getting overwhelmed by the height of his brother's completely insurmountable wall, and the long shadow that had existed since they were children. Shouldn't deals be made between those on even footings? From my perspective, this deal will help restore the long-lost trust of my younger siblings, and deepen the love between us. It's an old problem that's been eating at me, and one I would prefer to resolve as soon as possible. I would be overjoyed if we could resolve it today. However, it seems I'm not the only one who'd be quite glad to close this deal quickly. Am I wrong? Kraus stared at each of his siblings. They avoided his gaze with animal-like instinct. Only Hideyoshi was slow in avoiding it, so he was caught by Kraus's gaze. Hideyoshi-san, I hear your company has been doing extremely well lately. At a brisk pace, it went public, and both its track record and its stock prices have soared. I am truly jealous. We aren't here to talk about my husband. However, it is unfortunate that you have neglected your stockholders. It's even more unfortunate that you were unable to solidify your base when you became stock listed. Before you realized it, some bad-natured colleagues of yours had bought up a huge share of your company's stock, right? How could you know about that? The same way you knew about me. If it's possible to collect evidence proving that no one would offer a loan to me, that's possible for me to collect evidence on you. Is it really so unexpected as that? Kraus grinned broadly. In contrast, Hideyoshi's face was rapidly turning pale. Hideyoshi's company was a restaurant chain management company that he'd started from nothing. Thanks to Hideyoshi's management efforts, the company had achieved success repeatedly, expanding its range, and a petition to make it a stock-listed company had recently succeeded. The greatest advantage of being in the stockholding system is that you could sell stock certificates and get a large amount of financing. That amount tends to be far greater than a business's normal profits. So, this is an extremely effective way to gather massive funds to expand a business even further. However, in exchange for financing the company, the stockholders gain certain rights. They're given rights that allow them to observe and guide the company they've invested in, leading to profits even greater than their original investments. This right is guaranteed to the stockholders, and they sometimes use it to dismiss ineffectual management. The right allows them to keep an eye on management and prevent the money they've invested in the company from going to waste. However, if they use it forcibly, they can eject the former management and take over the company. After all, dismissing management and nominating new management are powers held by the general body of all shareholders. That power is determined by the majority decision of the stockholders, and people who hold more stock get to cast more votes. In other words, if some person or group holds a majority of the stock, they can freely chase out the old management and make the president anyone they'd like. Is that what happened to Papa John? I'm pretty sure that is. I'm pretty sure that is.
The only reason I know about this is because I watched it happen on an episode of Futurama. So I'm like, oh, okay, so that's how that works. But, question. Who is paying attention to any of this at all?
It's... Trust me, I know it's boring, like economic
it's
stuff.
Boring, it's just like, it's educational, like, I can understand this, but it's just like...
Well, the guy, who wrote this in Higurashi, Ryukishi, is what, I don't think that's his, actual name, that's, his, pen name. He used to be a, social worker, and I don't know if he was ever into any kind of, economic stuff, but I know he was a social worker and stuff, so, I mean, he may have, maybe he invested in some things. I mean, all of this, you could look it up on Google. I would assume this is pretty basic information,
Yeah, I'm probably gonna do that after this. That answers some questions, though.
Yeah. But I think he's trying to just establish, explain, okay, because not everybody, like me, I fell asleep in economics class in high school. I didn't really pay a lot of attention. So not everybody that's reading this is gonna know everything about it. So he's gotta...
I took a business class, so I understand the basics, but I didn't know it went this far. But I get it.
So it's kind of nice. He's kind of dumbing it down for the audience, so that way we're not like, what?
Try harder.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
If they want, it's also possible for them to make themselves president. Most companies take various defensive measures to stop malicious people from buying up their stock and threatening their position, like ensuring that lots of stock is brought by those close to them, such as company employees. However, Hideyoshi's company had only recently become stock-listed, and he hadn't had time to strengthen those defensive measures. Or maybe Hideyoshi was so engrossed in the management of his company that he couldn't properly understand the dangers of being stock-listed. It's hard to say whether he should be viewed as a kind-hearted manager immersed in the work of management, or a foolish manager who had his feet swept out from under him. In other words, there existed some people who wouldn't let him get away with that naivety unscathed. They began repeatedly buying up stock in Hideyoshi's company, rapidly gaining such strength that they couldn't be ignored. They then sent anonymous documents to the shareholders in an attempt to gain control of a majority. The documents read, "The current management continues to make pointless investments and is ignoring the needs of the stockholders. Let us force the current management to retire, cut the current wasted investments, and let this company be born again as one that gives more back to the stockholders." It's very difficult to make the actual state of a company's management known. The fruits of Hideyoshi's sleepless nights and constant concern for his company were cruelly distorted, and he lost the trust of his stockholders. Thanks to these efforts, this group had almost collected a majority of the company's stock. At that point, even Hideyoshi noticed and started to buy back the stock, but the stockholders realized that the company was undergoing an acquisition maneuver, and each demanded a ridiculous price for the shares that Hideyoshi was trying to buy back. Isn't that illegal?
I don't think it mattered then.
Yeah, because this is, what, 1986 or something? So maybe it isn't.
Yeah, it would take a lot of people to realize that, hey,
yeah.
we shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
Let's make it so that nobody can.
Yeah. They continually tortured Hideyoshi, who had no leeway in the negotiation of the price. One of the certainties of capitalism is that the price will rise when two parties vie for the same thing. And one of the certainties of democracy is that the majority controls everything. So in the end, whoever manages to buy up the most stock wins. Put another way, whoever has the most money wins.
That is the unfortunate truth.
Unless Hideyoshi could obtain a large sum of money at this critical time, he could easily lose all he had built so far. Therefore, more than anything else, he wanted a lot of money right now. He couldn't...
Did they have to put that in bold?
Yeah, because it's really important. Like, all of this stuff, they don't go over at all of this stuff later on. So it's like they're trying to emphasize it now,
like
so that way yes, exactly. He couldn't wait for the division of Kinzo's inheritance, since no one knew when he would die. And you, Rudolph, have been in quite a lot of trouble lately too, haven't you? You always hear people say it's terrifying overseas, but it seems it really is true. American trials are settled quite emotionally. They never hand down generous judgments to foreigners. Weren't you advised by your lawyer that making a settlement with the other party would be more economical in the long run?
What's this all about?
Well, it's just some trouble from work. No big deal. Nothing you can't settle with money. Kyrie immediately gets the meaning behind the subtle expression on Rudolph's face. Her husband had gotten wrapped up in some kind of trouble without her knowledge, and had been worrying over it alone. That's right. In this world, anything can be settled with money. After all, it can even buy back the broken bonds between siblings. America is very fussy about the violation of rights, but with money, anything can be settled. Long live capitalism.
Oh my god.
Though, rumor has it...
I'm sorry. The fact that this is so true in today's time and age, this is deep.
Yeah. Though the rumor has it that the settlement money could be as high as several $1 million. Rudolph had been building a large amount of wealth with a certain type of niche industry. However, a niche is a niche. It definitely wasn't a business exposed to the light of day. An American corporate giant was trying to accuse Rudolph's company of violating their rights. For various reasons, it was thought that victory for Rudolph in this trial would be extremely unlikely, and he was being forced into an all-out surrender. But even so, there was a way for this to be resolved with money. If he could just pay that money, it might still be painful, but he'd be able to pick himself back up. But if he didn't pay, he'd lose everything. Therefore, more than anything else, he wanted a lot of money right now.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that it's the same for like all of the siblings right now. Everybody wanted a lot of money like right now.
Rosa, you're a good and noble little sister. You wouldn't get yourself involved in a dangerous money game. However, your soft-hearted nature has brought you trouble, hasn't it? In my opinion, becoming a co-signer for anything isn't something one should enter into lightly.
That's none of your business, Rasmussen.
Rosa uncharacteristically laid bare her emotions and yelled. After all, no one was supposed to know that. As Cross watched, he let slip a muffled laugh. Without exception, every one of them, more than anything else, wanted a lot of money right now. In other words, the situation had been reversed. After all, the person the younger siblings were threatening was the only one who had no urgent need for a large sum of money. The other three, however, wanted a lot of money quickly, no matter the cost. In other words, the longer it took to establish this deal, the better position Krause would be in. Kraus...
realized that this was going to happen? Who realized that this was going to happen?
Kraus was extremely sly. He had known of their Achilles heel from the beginning. Even so, he had not been certain. Therefore, he had hidden his knowledge till the very end, striking back only after analyzing their attitudes. If it were possible, I would like nothing more than to raise some money for my adorable siblings in their time of need. But unfortunately, I have nothing on hand. If you know of any sponsors that might be able to raise a whole $750 million, I suggest you try that first. Krause's elated words were so obviously detached from what he actually felt. The other siblings could do nothing more than listen, grinding their teeth. If they could think of a sponsor that convenient, they wouldn't have kept up this charade. They had entered this huge battle specifically because they had exhausted all other options. However, if you do insist on relying on your big brother, I wouldn't mind using my influence to help you find such a sponsor. Oh wait, I do believe you said that I have no influence. Well then, I'm afraid it won't be much help to you. Krause's low, gloating laugh began to fill the parlor. The younger siblings, who had been driving the oldest brother to a corner until a moment ago, could do nothing more than grimace and grind their teeth. Ava... Don't make me laugh. As if I'd ever put myself in your debt. Don't make me laugh. Don't make me laugh.
If we relied, how exactly would you help us?
I told you, didn't I? All I can do is find other sponsors for you. Of course, I will negotiate for the highest interest rate possible. Damn you, taking advantage of us.
Please calm down.
I am calm. I'm extremely cool. You bastard. Kyrie grabbed her husband's hand. That action made him feel even more pitiful, so Rudolph shook it off. Kraus laughed as I watched something highly amusing. In times like these, it certainly would be nice to find Father's hidden gold. If you did, you could split it up into 2.5 billion yen portions right now. How sad, how sad. How very sad. How extremely, totally, truly, hopelessly sad. Tonight, let us all drink together, as we solve the riddle of Beatrice's epitaph and discover the location of Father's hidden gold. If we four friendly siblings work together, there's surely no puzzle we can't solve.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that one of these people will die tonight. Oh.
Quite an entertaining scene. Well, what are the conditions of this arrangement?
It's probably Genji.
Oh.
That's
Am
you.
I?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think I've been doing, yeah, it's both Genji and Kinzo, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, alright.
Whether or not Kraus-sama actually discovers the gold, he would be able to see Rudolph-sama and Rose-sama to represent the shoes. However, 10% of that would be knowledge.
Kraus does. To think he would have this swept out from him by themselves. How true you. But it sounds like a trip going to kill us.
Oh, it was canon! Oh my god!
Okay,
There's-
that changes things. That changes things. So that's 3 now. That's 3 times now.
Oh my god.
Yes. Kraus-sama exposed the fact that some siblings all Is there even a need to expose such obvious facts? That is content. What are they doing? That conversation Try to solve the fluid and find out where I'm going to.
Kinzo set down his spectacles and snorted.
The miracle be fulfilled first. Those fools is supposed to go. So, what a show this one. Really? Those fools solve my puzzle. I will suffer underneath it. They can suck my corpse down for the last right. Fools can allow great magic to live. And yet, the fulfillment of the miracle comes first. It comes first. Beatrice will be resurrected again. The smile I have been chasing half my life will be restored. Oh, Beatrice! Soon will come the sacred night when we shall bet upon a miracle, and the game of demons shall begin. I will surely prove triumphant and survive. I will let you have the lives of all those others. I don't need wealth, or honor, or assets, or gold, or anything. All I want is to see your smile one last time.
Kinzo choked, apparently in great pain. Cannon got closer and tried to pat his master's back, but Kinzo motioned for him to stop.
Why? Exposing information that everyone can see. It is because magical power is determined by risk. If the number of people who choose Beatrice's goal is correct, danger will succeed as well as well. Power of magical Rad miracle will succeed despite the odds. It's not the case that what performs the best becomes the who performs the best is magic. Do you see? See how miracle of life can be granted only after winning against the divine odds of several hundred million to one. Is this a little different? Apologies. That's all comes down to this. I will give all that I have built up to the one who serves the mystery of Beatrice's death. Well, honor, gold, inheritance of whom she will be a man. Everything that I have established. My children certainly are the only ones with the right to attempt to solve this problem. Anyone who solves the world will have the right to gain everything.
You shouldn't have said that. you shouldn't have said that.
Yes. However, I couldn't possibly understand it. Of course, I made it difficult. But you must try to solve this one. That performance suddenly miracle of knowledge. If everyone attempts it, fails and however, miracles come together and give birth to a magical power. And it will happen. Beatrice will revive. That is why you must attempt it too. Everyone must attempt it. And so doing, they will give strength to my magic. Do you understand?
a long while, Kinzo repeatedly muttered to himself, agitated and clutching at his head. Kanon stayed where he was, alert and unmoving, until he was given the next order from his master. Kinzo eventually realized this.
Very well. Leave. There was a bag of sweets in the bag. You can take some of this and rest. So, sure doesn't eat sweets. Well, I suppose it stands to reason. Yes. Leave. Yes. Yes.
Kanon bowed and left the study. As the door closed, a heavy locking noise sounded out. But it was not the sound of Kanon locking the door. It was the door locking automatically. No one could enter without Kinzo's permission, and once they left, they could not enter again. It was a mechanism that Kinzo, unable to trust his blood relatives, had created to seal himself up in his own study and isolate himself from the outside world. He was already unable to trust anyone excepting not the children who shared his blood, but those of servants who called themselves furniture. Ah, Genji-san. Oh, it's just that there's no place for me to be anymore. With a bitter laugh, Nanjo turned to face the door to the parlor. That look was apparently enough to tell Genji what Nanjo wanted to say. For the most part, Genji also understood the family's situation. It must have made him want to frown, knowing that right now in the lounge, the master he served was being discussed so disrespectfully. But it would have been very difficult to gather that from his indifferent expression. Still, I don't understand. Why did Kinzo-san have something so provocative written, I wonder? Nanjo looked at the portrait of Beatrice. No, he actually directed his gaze beneath the portrait, at the plate with the epitaph.
I do not presume to understand Mr. Stevens. However, I am sure we have demons in doing so.
Since long ago, when Kinzo-san played chess, he would always prepare his moves according to some far-reaching judgment. Yes, sometimes even to make moves I couldn't understand. For an average person like me, it was impossible to see through to whatever it was he was planning.
Sometimes I wonder this for myself. Mr. Stevens. Perhaps he wishes to have his time to understand.
So, you're thinking he may have wanted the four siblings to work together and solve the riddle, before some outsider like myself solved it? Kinzo-san may speak of his children in insulting terms, but perhaps he also wants them to repair their relationship. It certainly would be heartwarming if, as Nanjo had suggested, this epitaph had been made to repair the siblings' relationship. However, both Nanjo and Genji knew that nothing could be more impossible than this. They'd known Kinzo longer than anyone, and Kinzo trusted them more than his own relatives, but even they could not guess at his true motives.
Master always says that everyone has the right to try and solve it, even if they aren't on his back. What about you, Doctor?
No. It's a little too difficult a puzzle for this senile old man. Actually, I once wrote this epitaph down on my notebook. Night after night, I would try to solve it before going to sleep. But, it really is hard. It looks like we might have some free time to relax and consider it before someone comes to get us. What do you say, Genji-san? Why, you're very modest. I imagine that's why Kinzo-san trusts you so much.
If so,
As Nanjo lightly laughed in response, he once again looked at the epitaph. Behold, the sweet fish river running through my beloved hometown. You who seek the Golden Land, follow its path downstream in search of the key. The epitaph on the portrait called My Beloved Witch Beatrice goes as follows. Oh, I was supposed to read that as Nanjo, whatever. Behold, the sweet fish river running through my beloved hometown. You who seek the Golden Land, follow its path downstream in search of the key. As you travel down it, you will see a village. In that village, look for the shore the two will tell you of. There sleeps the key to the Golden Land. The one who attains the key must then travel to the Golden Land in accordance with these rules. On the first twilight, offer the 6 chosen by the key as sacrifices. On the second twilight, those who remain shall tear apart the 2 who are close. On the third twilight, those who remain shall praise my noble name. On the fourth twilight, gouge the head and kill. On the fifth twilight, gouge the chest and kill. On the sixth twilight, gouge the stomach and kill. On the seventh twilight, gouge the knee and kill. On the eighth twilight, gouge the leg and kill. On the ninth twilight, the witch shall revive, and none shall be left alive. On the 10th twilight, at journey's end, you shall attain to the power of the Golden Land's treasures once and for the last time. The witch shall praise the wise and bestow 4 treasures. One shall be all the gold from the Golden Land. One shall be the resurrection of all the dead souls. One shall be the resurrection of the love that was lost. One shall be to put the witch to sleep for all time. Sleep peacefully, my beloved witch, Beatrice.
What the fuck? I am so confused.
Alright! Another chapter done. Yeah, it's a very hard riddle.
No,
Like-
wait, I kind of get it. I kind of get it. Like, I know that it has to deal with, like, the family members because Kinzo's crazy like that. But a few I can get, and a few I don't get. Like, it says follow the stream to the village and talk to 2 people, and the 2 people will give you a key. And, like, the 2 people will give you a key.
It's
Then the key will choose, like, 6 people, and among those 6 people, they have to be killed first. And then after that, you have to kill, like, 7 more people?
Alright, we finally have a tip. The portrait epitaph, so we can reference this. I could not solve it. Unfortunately, because this game is originally in Japanese, a lot is lost in translation. So, yeah.
Okay, so they said don't go into the forest except where the witch sleeps. I think that, yes, that forest is something important. Maybe finding a river in the forest and going down to where the village, to where, like, a place where the 2 people that they're supposed to talk to resides, and that's where the key is. And then whoever, like, I guess gets the key because they're part of the bloodline, those people should die first. Because, like, go to the next page because it says the people who are chosen by this key. Yeah, the one who obtains the key must then travel to the Golden Land in accordance with these rules. On the first twilight, so the dawn of the first day, 6 people chosen by the key are chosen as sacrifices. So the first of those 6, like those 2 who remain shall tear the 2 who are close. So that's 2 sacrifices, right there. Those who remain shall praise my noble name. And the 4th twilight, somebody dies because their head got gouged. After that, the next person because their chest got gouged out. After that, they have to get their stomach out, and they're dead by that. Then something about their knee getting gouged out and killed, and then after that, their leg gouged out and killed. And then with all those parts, I guess it's like a blood sacrifice, because the witch is supposed to come back with that.
There's actually 7 sacrifices.
7 sacrifices.
Yeah, because there's 2 on the second Twilight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very difficult. Joe Chrono actually solved it. He solved it, and it blew my fucking mind, because I have no idea how you would even... yeah.
how he would even understand it that? Like, did he predict what is going to happen in the rest of the game through that riddle?
No, he didn't, but he figured out where the gold is, and he was actually right.
Oh
He had a guess. He's like, okay, I think it's gonna be here, and then they kept reading it, and then it turned out that he was 100% correct. Like, it was nuts. Like, yeah, I couldn't do it. I tried when I read this for the first time. I was not right. I was not correct at all. So it'll be interesting to see what everyone
I want to give this a try,
thinks.
but I know I'm going to go insane trying to figure it out. Because, I mean, like, the first part is where to find the golden treasure. It's not like where the second part has nothing to do with the golden treasure, really.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, the first part describes the location, the second part describes how to get it.
Yeah. If you guys want, what I can do, because I don't want you guys going onto, like, the wiki and finding spoilers everywhere, I can type up the epitaph into a Google Doc, and I can pin the, link in the Discord for everyone to read.
We can all get the one brain cell and try to solve this
I'll
before
go ahead and pin it in the Discord, and then for those of you who aren't part of our Discord server, I'll go ahead and post a link to the doc in the description on YouTube and Twitch, so anyone can give it a go. So hopefully, rocks, I offer my brain cell to the cause. So I'm not going to say anything. I'm gonna let you guys do it because I already know the answer. So, alright, we're gonna go ahead and save. At least we get to...
You guys, we can do this before next week. We've got this. We can do it. We can share that one brain cell.
But, alright guys, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Kit, for helping. My throat is in much better shape this time around.
That was fun. I can't wait for next week.
Yeah.
I want to do more of this.
Oh, don't trust me.
I'm actually no. I think it's because like we haven't reached the horror stuff yet. That's why I'm like I want to do more of this. This seems fun. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah, it gets. Just wait. You guys just wait. That's like I keep telling people, like just wait. It gets crazy. It does. But yeah, go ahead and give a follow, like, comment, subscribe, the whole shebang. I appreciate all of it.
All the things.
If you want to support me on Patreon, you can do so at patreon.com/insanityizgood. You can also go to youtube.com/users/insanityizgood to check out my other playthroughs. But I'm still in the middle of moving. But I should be getting my internet switched over, I believe, next Tuesday. So hopefully there will be no, like, hiccup in between my, streaming schedule. So fingers crossed everything goes well and we don't have any kind of issues or anything. So, yeah. Alright guys, have a good night and I'll see you next time. Bye. Bye-bye.